Day 24 on this Monday morning, you're watching BT. I'm sure a lot of parents had sleepless weekends out there, Dawn, trying to deal with their children and their sleep issues. So Dawn is back with us to talk about them because we've got lots of emails to go through here. So let's start with the one that we talked about earlier, and you wanted to work this out. And this is for Tammy. Her 16-month-old daughter usually sleeps until 6 a.m., but with the time change is getting up at 5, and she wants to ease her back into the 6. How does she do that?
Okay, so I was basing it on 12 hours at night and a 2-hour nap. So I'll be putting her to bed maybe 15 minutes later for the next 4 days and getting her up 15 minutes later. Try and keep all milk feeds or solid intake on real time. So if it was 11:30 lunchtime last week, 11:30 lunchtime this week, try and get the body clock set for the extra hour.
Okay, but then just ease the sleeping time.
That's right. So move it back and try and keep her in bed for an extra 15 minutes each day until she's back at 6 a.m.
Let's hope that works for Tammy. All right, Kim says, my son is almost 1. He has never slept through the night. He goes to bed between 7 and 8, wakes up 1 to 4 times a night crying, I am so tired. How can I have him sleep through the night? People say I should leave him to cry, but that is so hard for me. I know a lot of people say that, but I could never do that either.
It is hard. First of all, I'm not quite sure whether or not he actually has any props present when he goes to sleep initially. If he has props present, that could be the reason why he's waking up crying. So if he has something so if he's got a soother or if he's rocked to sleep, then when he wakes up, because he's alone in his bed, that would make him become a bit distressed because it's like going to bed and then waking up outside.
You shouldn't be putting them to bed with something.
Absolutely. So I wasn't quite sure whether or not there was any props present. So if there is, then you'd have to eliminate those when he first goes to bed in the evening so that when he wakes up the conditions are the same.
Well, Dawn, what about the idea of playing music? Because we hear that a lot too, about soothing music before they go to bed.
That's good for a wind down. If you actually want something to be playing all night, then white noise is better. So anything like a fan or humidifier or something that's just constant. But yeah, mellow music for a wind down is nice after they've had the bath.
Yeah, but don't let them actually fall asleep to it, because then that becomes...
I think white noise is better than music.
Oh, okay. So then with the Kim, then it was the props.
I'm not sure if there's any props present, so it would seem that if he's waking up crying and if he could fall asleep by himself initially, he should be able to then sleep through the night. So it would depend what's present when he goes to sleep, really.
And again, we should mention that with a lot of these cases, you would probably need to know more. You would need to do the 3-day of the sleep log.
That's right.
So it's very hard for you to just say kind of generalize here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
But she doesn't have to leave him to cry. If he's crying and she goes in and everything's fine, she can stay with him till he goes back to sleep and then leave again. Okay. And then maybe work on just kind of pulling herself back from there. Okay,
now we have an email here from Tara, and what's interesting about this email, Dawn, is that Mark Doherty, our very own Mark, has the same problem, so he'll be listening very carefully to this. I have a little girl who will be 3 next week. She still sleeps with me, Mom, but I'd like to start her in her own bed. Okay, now this is kind of like the crib to bed. Mark's situation is they want to move their son to the crib to the bed, but this is a similar thing. But first, let's deal with Tara's, which is Mom's bed to the bed.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure again if she's actually sleeping through the night or not. That's something that I would work on first. First of all, I'd work on having her sleep through the night. For the bed, always anticipate that when you're putting a baby into their own bed or a child into their own bed, you're moving them to freedom, basically, because they can get out. So
that's scary.
Anticipate that. So have a plan ready for that. If you know they're going to get out and you want them to stay in bed, well, we've got to put them back. They're going to start asking for things. They're going to want to say, I want to go to the toilet. They're going to start saying, I want a drink. I want something to eat. Once you've put them in bed and they've had their meal and they've had their normal routine, they don't need anything. If they haven't needed anything before when she was in bed with Mum, she doesn't need anything now. She's just playing for time.
Right.
So you basically have to switch yourself into nighttime mode and put her back to bed. Don't say anything except statements. Don't ask open-ended questions, otherwise you're inviting them into a conversation.
Right.
So that's not what you want.
This is discipline on the part of the parent, is what you're asking for here.
Yes, it is. Yeah, you've got to have boundaries and rules. Once they're in bed, they're in bed.
Okay, so let's talk about Mark's situation, which is the crib now, where it looks very comfortable, to the actual bed.
Right, I'm not quite sure how old that child is and what's happened. Again, I need to know a little bit more about that.
Okay.
But it's basically the same thing as anticipate that it's going to be a game. I wouldn't have the crib and the bed in the same room together. I think that's really confusing to the child. They're not going to take the bed over the crib. If they've always been in the crib, they're going to want the crib.
Well, then how do you move them to that?
So you can just, I would just take the crib away and get them involved in buying the new bed, go out, get new bed and get them excited about it. People have even had like bed parties. You know, have everybody round and let everybody video, have a look at the new bed, and you know, make it exciting for them. But if you have the two things in the same room together, that's going to be a bit confusing.
Okay, so you need to actually make an event of taking the crib out of the room.
You don't have to make an event of taking the crib away, but have an event about having the new bed.
Right. What if the bed's already there? Because I think their bed is already there. So
I would take the crib away at that point and have a nice bedtime routine still, and stay with him until he's asleep.
Okay. Kathy from Delta says, how long should a 2- and 3-year-old nap during the day, and is it important for them to still be napping daily?
So the 2-year-old, absolutely. The 2-year-old needs about 2 hours worth of nap, 1.5 hours worth of nap if they're having 12 hours of sleep at night. The 3-year-old, a lot of children can drop the nap around 3. It depends on that particular child. If the child is showing signs that they're ready to give up a nap, so they're resisting bedtime, for instance, then she might want to do the nap every other day, then do it every 3rd day for about an hour to 30 minutes.
Okay, and Carmina, very quickly here, Dawn. I have a 3-month-old daughter who sleeps in my bed at night. In the daytime, she likes to be rocked. Then I can put her down, usually on the couch, because the minute I put her in the crib, she wakes up. How can I train her to start sleeping in the crib? Is it too early? At what age would you suggest training?
It's not too early to start teaching independent sleep, but first of all, you have to really want to do it. There's no point doing something if somebody else is doing it and you don't really want to do it. If she's happy to have her in bed with her and she's breastfeeding, that's fine for now. There's no point making changes if you're not willing to commit to something.
Yeah, if you're only doing it because somebody told you to.
Exactly.
Right.
So if she's happy to have her in the bed, that's fine. But if she does want to make changes, she can, and she can put her in her crib, but she needs to stay with her because she is going to cry because she's not used to that environment. So just having mum there, she probably will cry initially, but just stay with her until she's asleep and be committed. Don't just start something one day, go back to old habits the next. Have a plan written down for yourself.
Okay, now listen, we had many more emails here, so Dawn, thank you very much. What we're going to do is we're going to pass on your emails to Dawn, and she'll try to get to them as many as she can, but thank you very much for the great advice this morning. Here's Mark. Mark, did you get all that?
I got all the information, so you're saying my wife is going to have to sleep with him in the room for a little while.
Yeah, that's right. Your wife is going to have to sleep there.
No, I'll probably end up doing that. Okay, thanks very much, guys.